by network connectivity and other issues. And thank you for your time. We trust that it would be considered fruitful by the time we end this meeting. Colleagues, may I then ask with the agenda as it has been presented, if we are happy to adopt the agenda, if you can do that by raising your hand. I've got Ms. Maseti, Advocate Stoller, Mr. Gumede, Ms. Mbungose, Mr. Mkize, Mrs. Banda, Ms. Simane, and Ms. Bia, so the full regulator complement. Thank you. The agenda is adopted. We then we move on to item number 4. We have declaration of interest forms on regulatory matters. If we could complete those, I have found convene to be quite helpful in completing and sharing it with Faye. And if there's anyone who has an item to declare or who has an interest to declare on any of the items that we're looking at, please do so now. Advocate Sitole.
Apologies, Chair, I forgot to lower down my hand.
Okay, thank you. On that note, colleagues, we are then going to move to item number 5. This is a report from the chairperson of the Petroleum Pipelines Subcommittee, the regulator member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines regulation, Mr. Mkize. Mr. Mkize, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, members and management and staff, and as well as the members of the public. I would like to then present here together with bringing the HOD and her team to Madam Nobu Bogo to also add. The main thrust of this submission is to request the energy regulator to set tariffs for the Transnet petroleum pipeline system, reflecting a 10.13% increase from the tariff set for the 2023-24 financial year, as opposed to the tariff increase of 25.60 that was applied for by Transnet, to approve the allowable revenue of 7,212.32 million for the Transnet pipeline system for the 2024-2025 financial year, as well as approve the decision and reasons for decision document on the Transnet tariff application for its petroleum pipeline system for the 2024-25 financial year, which is attached as Annexure A. I would take the document as read and highlight that, as I said, indicated earlier on, there was a tariff increase application of 25.6%, which we have worked out to a tariff application of an increase of 10.13%. Based on the information that was put forth. Table 1 summarizes the allowable revenue and the NERSA determination. There was an amount that was deferred previously, and that continues. I would also like to highlight that on page 9 to page 13, where there's also table 4 there, we looked at the issue of smoothing. In terms of what has been presented, there's an amount that was smoothened by way of making it deferred capital, an amount of 800 million, as opposed to an amount of 900 million. There are 2 scenarios that we looked at. And in terms of what was presented, is that we then settled for that amount of 800 million rand that we would smoothen. You note that we also have got page 37 to 41. It talks about NMPP project prudency, and then the capex volume concerns are raised on page 41 to 43, highlighting the fact that we've got a challenge with the pipeline, that now it's a question of improving the utilization of the pipeline, matters that we assist with together with Transnet, as well as bringing in the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy to look at measures that would assist in terms of improve utilization of the pipeline. On page 43 to 45, there is issue of the tight lining, which is what we are using currently whilst they are waiting for the construction of the Terminal 1 tanks, that is the accumulation tanks in Durban. Then on page 46 to 55, there is a road and versus pipeline, other modes of transport. We see that reducing, and what we would like to drive towards is so that we can also ensure that there is no debt spiral, is to have effective, cost-effective tariffs for the pipeline so that we can move the volumes from road to pipeline. And then 55 to 56 is rehab funds. And then we also talk about the issue of volume risk sharing, which we kept it, particularly during the time of COVID, where we put a 50% sharing of the risk, because that was a black swan event, and taking into consideration that those matters that are beyond the customers, we cannot necessarily punish them for that. And then we have from page 98, we've got a microeconomic impact. On page 26 of the RFD, I think that there's a number there that we need to change at the end. So a new table is going to be provided. I don't know if there's anything to add from Madam Gogo, but before then, maybe I let her speak. I would say that the PPS on the 7th of February, they engaged on the document, and they came up with the suggestions, which the questions which are responded to by our team, which I think they've been adequately addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Colleagues, Mr. Mkhize has a submission in front of us. Are there any points to be clarified or enhancements to be made onto the submission before we really go to the recommendations? I've got Ms. Bia.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the presenter for the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Yeah, I think it's a good thing that this happens, because we need to take trucks off the road and go back to the pipe. But I just wanted to ask one question, because there has been a lot of instances of vandalism or theft of actual product. So the product is measured at the source. So I just wanted to know if, as NERSA, there is a way of dealing with issues to say, when then at the end, when the theft is so significant that it impacts what was at the beginning, how do we compensate Transnet when it comes to that? Because there's been a lot of instances since 2020. They were there before, but there've been a lot along the pipeline. Somewhere in the northern KZN, people are starting to burst the pipe and do all of these things. So maybe previously they were insignificant, but in case they are significant, do we have a way of making sure that this is catered for within the tariff calculation? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bia. Ms. Mane.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much to Mr. Mkhize for the presentation. From my side, Chair, my input is that wherever we are going to land in terms of the final determination in terms of the tariff we're approving for Transnet, it mustn't be just a blank check, for a lack of a better word. There has to be some kind of persuading or pushing them to the realization that they are running a volume-based business. So there shouldn't be reliance on them applying for exorbitant tariff increase for their financial sustainability or sustaining the business, let alone the very dire need to move the petroleum products off the road to the pipes. So from my side, I would advocate for a situation whereby when we do take the decision to approve whatever tariff percentage we are giving them, then we must get them to a point whereby they will submit progress reports, at least even if it's on a quarterly basis, on what they've promised on the applications with regards to this improving the utilization of the pipeline. If I can mention just a few, they've promised that they will increase the onboarding of new entrants. They will provide dedicated support. They will be collaborating with storage operators to make sure that there's an increase in volumes, but there's no timeline on those. It's just blank statements. So from my side, I would appreciate a situation whereby there are timelines by when are they going to do that and the volumes envisaged, even if it's subsequent to this, but at the very least, they have to appraise the regulator in terms of progress made on this one. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Semane. I don't see any other questions or hands raised. So, Mr. Mkhize, may I request you to respond again?
Thanks, Chairperson. And thanks to Madam Sibiya. We'll do our best. We'll continue doing our best. When it comes to the issue of the theft incidents, it's been a worrying factor. I have also personally visited, gone to a few areas where there were theft incidents and product being lost. I remember one in Durban last year, I think the year before last, when we went there, and there were people that actually died because of whilst engaged in this issue of theft. We have also seen recently in newspapers around the people, the consultant that they use to clean up the area after the spillage of product because of theft. So on page 32 of the reloaded submission, you would see there the issue, the report on the pipeline tampering and product theft incidents that they've been increasing. But on the other side, there's been a lot of work that Transnet has actually put in to ensure that they kind of reduce that. I still maintain that without those interventions, it could have been worse. And you don't have a situation also where you can rely on insurance because the premiums would be ridiculously high. So those losses, we are involved in terms of the efforts that they've undertaken. We've listed them under paragraph 2.8, where there's also we're also participating as NERSA in the task teams that they've instituted to try to deal with this scourge. The amount that is cumulative over the years is also indicated on paragraph 2.9 on page 34, the black page 34. So when you look at all of that, it's just that if there is an erosion of civil morality and a decline in terms of low element of lawlessness, if I can put it like that, it's very difficult. We not so long ago we got the crime stats in the country, so it is to some extent also very much closely linked to the level of lawlessness or criminality in our society, making things difficult. But I think that the efforts are being made. The challenge that we have, something that we're also looking at what with Transnet is, do we need really to compensate them 100%, which we are currently doing, because all the amounts that are lost, all those efforts are being compensated because they are part of the expenses that need to be covered by the tariff. So we are looking at that to say, because we must mimic a competitive market, to say if someone comes and steals from your shop, you don't necessarily then get the other consumers to pay for that. by way of distributing that loss to them. So it's to be able to we're talking to them. But I must say that in Transnet, we've got one of the very cooperative licensees. They would really do as much as they can. The cooperation from them is top notch. And talking to that, moving then to the improvement of the utilization of the pipeline, is that even in that we're discussing with them. There are certain factors that are difficult to manage or deal with, especially if you've got new wholesalers that have come into play, and they are not necessarily going to use the pipeline because of the small parcels that they have, and also the infrequent levels at which they come, thereby posing a challenge. They've had also some challenges that were linked to the classification of the facility at Krugersdorp to be able to the Talton facility. I mean, to be able to get product out going to Botswana and other areas. So those things are being sorted. The other issue is when other ports of entry are being utilized, which then becomes also an issue that the department it needs to be engaged in. Sometimes we've got delays in the injection of the product at the cost by the shippers, the oil companies, which then causes a problem. From time to time, there are these challenges, especially when it comes to a specific product like diesel, etc. But these things were dealing with them, and not so long. There is not so long. We will provide a report in this regard, because we do have a report that serves at the PPS, talking about the security of supply inland. But we've seen that we have changed the essence of that report, not to talk about the adequacy of infrastructure to get product delivered inland, but to talk about the improved utilization of all the facilities, the infrastructure, which serves the inland region. There is also another project that we have embarked upon to look at the logistics, which we need to look at the vulnerabilities of the value chain to be able to handle product, especially in light of the fact that we are now over-reliant on imports, with the two refineries in Durban having ceased to operate. So that would be my answer. I mean, there will be subsequent reports that will talk to that very succinctly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Mr. Mkiza, I'm not sure if you've addressed the issue that Ms. Mane raised around the timelines.
Yeah, when it comes to the timelines, because we're saying that we're going to have there specific intervention and projects, we'll be engaging with the Transnet. I don't want to give a timeline that they must undertake from my side, and then they find that I've just given a knee-jerk response to it. One of the things was to get this out of the way. Then we then discuss the exact interventions, and then be able to resource those interventions accordingly. We'll bring the report to the ER for that purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. May I check with Ms. Simon and Ms. Bia if they've been adequately responded to? Ms. Simane is fine. Ms. Bia? Yeah, okay. I suppose, thank you, Ms. Bia. I suppose, Mr. Mkiza, the other thing you raised about the compensation, if it is going to be always at 100%, is something that would be included in the further work and the further discussions that we are having with Transnet.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Colleagues, we have this submission in front of us, and the recommendations are Can you help Mr. Mkiza, because I just want us to read them out and Mr. Mkiza, the recommendations, can you help with the recommendations so that we can just approve? Colleagues, I'm not sure if I'm audible or not.
Yes, I can hear you, Chair.
Okay.
So I was speaking on a muted mic. The recommendation is to approve the decision and reason for this document on the Transnet tariff application for East Petron pipeline system for the 2024-25 financial year, which is attached to as Annex A, to approve an allowable revenue of 7,212.32 million for the Transnet pipeline system, and set tariffs for the Transnet Petron pipeline system, which is shown in Table 6, reflecting a 10.13% increase from the tariff set for the 2023-24 financial year, as opposed to the tariff increase of 25.60 applied for by Transnet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Colleagues, may you please indicate your support by raising your hand? Got Mr. Gumede, Mr. Mkiza, Ms. Maseti, Ms. Mane, Ms. Bungose, Mr. Sibanda, and Advocate Zitole. Yes, the Transnet tariff application is approved. Thank you, colleagues. Mr. Mkiza, you still have the floor with the other item.
Thank you, Chairperson. The item is about the PPS minutes of meeting number 180 of the 6th of December 2023, as well as the PPS minutes of meeting number 181 of 17th January 2024, which are presented for noting. I don't want to necessarily highlight a specific submission or matter being deliberated upon in these meetings. I take them as read and will gladly respond to any questions or any comments or guidance that are provided to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Colleagues, we have got two sets of minutes, the minutes of the 6th of December and the minutes of the 17th of January. Any questions, comments, or points that you would require Mr. Mkiza to clarify? If none, colleagues, may you just indicate by raising your hand if we are approving both the minutes of the 6th of December and the minutes of the 17th of January. I've got Ms. Simane, Mr. Gumede, Ms. Bia, Advocate Stole, Mr. Mkiza, Mr. Sibanda, Ms. Maseti, and Ms. Bungose. The minutes are noted. Thank you very much. Mr. Mkiza, item 5.3 is the one that was removed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Colleagues, can we then move on to the next item on the agenda? This is now item number 6. This is the report from the chairperson of the electricity. Ms. Maseti, is your hand?
Chair, it's mine. I was struggling to put it down.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you. So we're going to item number 6. This is the report from the chairperson of the electricity subcommittee. It's going to be given by the chairperson of that committee, the regulator member primarily responsible for electricity regulation at NESA, Mr. Gumede. Mr. Gumede, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to you, members and the colleagues. Chair, I don't have any matter that is substantive today. I've just got the two sets of minutes, the minutes of the meeting of the 14th of December, meeting number 215, and minutes of the meeting of the 15th of Jan, meeting number 216. I don't have any matter that I'd like to primarily focus on. Again, as indicated by Mr. Mkiza, I will actually handle any question that or any comment that may be raised by members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gumede. Colleagues, these are the minutes of the 14th of December and the minutes of the 15th of Jan. 14th of December and 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 the 15th of Jan. sorry, colleague, and the 15th of January. Any questions, comments, or points that you would need to be clarified? If not, may I request that we just indicate by raising our hands if we are happy to note these minutes. I've got Ms. Maseti, Ms. Kize, Mr. Kumete, Ms. Simane, Ms. Bungose, Ms. Bia, Advocate Sitole, and Ms. Bia. Thank you. Colleagues, I know that Mr. Kumete indicated earlier that he is not firing on all cylinders, and I do want to wish him well. And if the pain does not subside, Mr. Kumete, do know that we are sharing the pain with you, and we wish you well pretty soon. And if you can't continue, please just indicate to either Faye or myself. Thank you, Mr. Kumete, for your contribution. Thank you, colleagues. We are going to move on to item number 7. This is now the report from the chairperson of the Piped Gas Subcommittee, which will be given by the regulator member primarily responsible for piped gas regulation at NERSA, Ms. Nomfundo Maseti. Ms. Maseti, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you and the members. Chairperson, the report that we have today is the minutes of the meeting of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee. The meeting was held on the 16th of January 2023. I do not have issues to emphasize on those minutes, but I will take questions that come from the members for clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Colleagues, any questions for clarification from Ms. Maseti? None. May we then just raise our hands to indicate that we are in support of noting these minutes. I've got Mr. Mkize, Advocate Sitole, Mr. Kumete, Mr. Banda, Ms. Maseti, and Mr. Mane, and Mr. Bia, and Ms. Bungose. Thank you. The minutes are noted. Colleagues, that according to my agenda, this now leads us to the end of the open part of the meeting. Can I just confirm, Faye, with you that that's the case?
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you. May I then thank the members of the public who have joined us. This was a short meeting, and we trust that you're listening and you are satisfied that the energy regulator is conducting the business in the way that is expected for an institution of this nature. Thank you.